Welcome to another edition of the Dog or Pass podcast. This for UFC Kansas City. Paul Shaughnessy, Cody Saftik coming to you with a little bit of breaking news this week. Been a long time coming. There's no drama. Before we get into any of this, just the nature of the beast. Been working with Pat for over 7 years now. But one, this is the last episode brought to you by CoolBet. Use promo code DoggerPass to get a match up to $200 on your first deposit. But Jared, you may want to pop in. What's Pat Mayo's promo code? Because
I think it's just Pat Mayo.
may you want to use that one because I think the Dogger Pass one may get discontinued. I don't know. I don't have all the details about all that type of stuff. But long and skinny, long and short of it is Cody and I are going to go out on our own after this. The show will continue. It'll continue under the Bookie Beatdown banner. It'll be on Mayo Media Network for the next 2 weeks to kind of catch some stragglers and stuff. You'll still see us on Mayo Media Network. But I believe the plan is UFC 315 from Montreal. We will have the new hosts of the Dogger Pass podcast popping in here. If you just want me and Cody, it'll be on the Bookie Beatdown feeds. There's a YouTube. Got it up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts earlier today as well. And as always, if you're interested in any extra stuff from us, we break down all the regional scene stuff every single week. That can be found in the Patreon link, which is in the link below. But yeah, first off, there's no drama. There's no nothing. It's just, I'm a little bit older in life. Being out here, I'm separated from family. Want to go back, be closer to my family and stuff, and that's where Cody lives, and so on and so forth. So long story is that I'm still hanging around, getting Jared up to speed and on how to do the next era of Mayo Media Network. But I will be, leaving Mayo Media Network in the foreseeable future. So I guess that's a whole bunch to pack in. Sort of start the show like that. But Cody, come in and save me.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack for sure. And then whereas normally we'd put something like this at the end of the show, it is important to get everyone to understand the change of process. But listen, we started off as Bookie Beatdown on Fight Network, and then we moved from Fight Network to Mayo Media, Pat Mayo Experience, Mayo Media Network. And then we're just moving over to the Bookie Beatdown channel. It doesn't change anything. If you were watching it on TV, it's the difference between going to channel 371 and channel 475. Like literally nothing's really changing. It's free on YouTube, the entirety of the show. It's just like Paul mentioned, it's that time of our lives, I think, where it's a good time to just set out. I mean, we've always had really good sponsors, whether it be Monkey Knife Fight, from Monkey Knife Fight over to DraftKings, from DraftKings over to Prize Picks, from Prize Picks over to CoolBet. And that's kind of the game. It's just like you're constantly chasing sponsors. And we've been very fortunate to get really good sponsors. So do you continue that trend of chasing down these 8-month deals, year deals, 16-month deals? You just put it on your own platform. I think that's what we decided to do. But no UFC last week. We have UFC before that, 314. We did quite well. Let's keep those times going. Doesn't matter where the show is, as long as the advice is the same, as long as the advice is good. So this is a 14-fight show. I'll be honest with you, I'm a little bit constricted with time, so I'm not going to ramble nearly as much as I usually do. But let's rip through this thing, Paul. Let's find the value and let's make some money.
I don't believe you, but you did say you had a heart out.
I set a timer, too, on my phone. I was like, I got a clock and everything, so we'll see if I can do it.
We will see. And as I said, UFC 315, there will be an episode kind of unveiling the new hosts of the Dogger Pass podcast on Mayo Media Network. They're good guys. Definitely support them. And Cody and I will be on the show sharing our insights with them and kind of handing over the torch, whatever the hell that means for Dogger Pass podcast.
I don't understand that part of it, but we can save that for another time.
I'll be on there at the very least. All right. We got the main event of UFC Kansas City. Ian Machado, Garry taking on Carlos Prates. Garry is a -125 favor. Prates could be had for +105. I'm a sucker for the fighting nerds now, Cody. I'm all in on the fighting nerds. And I don't, there's this little clip circulating right now of like Prates like 6, 7 years ago getting like backed up and quote unquote quitting as Machado Garry would say, he quit. He 100% quit. And sure, he quit. But what, they're like 19 and 0? 19 and 0 since they came into the UFC, this team right now. It's on a totally different level. I know it's a bit of narrative, and all good streaks will come to an end. But you go and you watch Ian Machado Garry in the Shavkat fight, and in the moment, because Ian was short notice taking on one of the more feared guys in the division who was climbing the mountain. You were pretty impressed with how he performed and how close that fight was. But you go back and watch that fight, it's just like he's getting lit up with some strikes that's like if he gets hit like that against a guy like Prates, I think he's in for a world of hurt. The takedown defense, when you go and watch the tape on Prates, now it hasn't been against higher level competition yet. We're gonna find out a lot about like the ceiling for Carlos Prates right now. Yeah, the limp leg, everything that he does seems pretty on plan. He's got Caio Baralho making game plans for him. You know that they're going to be ready for this. I'm not stepping in front of the train that is the Fighting Nerds right now, and Prates is one of my favorite new characters of the last or the last 12 months really. That's kind of emerged as a star in this promotion. Prates is the pick for me. Prates by knockout is a little bit short. It's like plus 175. Garry hasn't been knocked out. Gary's very, very durable. Irish guys tend to be durable, but like we've seen him rocked by Zhang. We've seen him rocked even by Gabe Green. Went and watched that fight. I'm like, he's getting hit way too much. Like if you're not able to get takedowns against Carlos Prates and you just want to hang out on the feet, I think you're in for a world of hurt. So Prates is the pick for me. What about you?
Yeah, I echo a lot of the same sentiments. Like I kind of do flip-flop back and forth with this fight. You can see a path of victory for both guys, but I just end up on protest. Maybe it's the fighting nerd angle. Maybe it's the fact that this guy has seemingly turned a corner in his career. There's just a lot of factors. I would say initially I'm thinking smart money would be on Ian Garry. Why? Because this is a 5 round fight. You don't know that Prates can fight 5 rounds. He's never had to do it. You don't know that this guy's got cardio. He's 31 years old. He's a smoker. You know Garry can go 5 rounds. He went a hard 5 rounds of Shavkat Rakhmonov. He in the 5th round, arguably his best round. Ian Garry can fight the 25 minutes. You do know that, whereas you do not know about Prates. The other problem about Prates is you don't know if this guy can grapple. Like he's not been fighting anybody. He goes in there. He's got a nasty southpaw straight left hand. He just marches you down systematically and breaks you down. But realistically, he's getting hit as much as he's hitting his opponent. He's fairly low volume, not low volume, but he lands. Carlos Prates averages 4.39 strikes landed per minute. He's absorbing 4.60. The level of opponent he's fought is Neil Magny, 1-3 in his last 4 fights, 37 years old. Jingliang Li, 1-3 in his last 4 fights, 37 years old. Hasn't fought in 2 years because of a major spinal injury. Charles Ratke, Trevin Giles, and Mitch Ramirez. Like this, it's not an impressive run. So with with Ian Garry, not only has he proven he could fight 5 rounds, he's fought in the better of competition. Rakhmonov was ranked. Michael Page is a decent fighter. Jeff Neal, ranked fighter at the time. So I don't know. You got experience advantage for Ian Garry. You've got 5 round experience for Ian Garry. You've got presumable grappling advantage for Ian Garry. Why wouldn't you take Ian Garry? But that's where you look at it, and it's like he's super unimpressive. Like when he wins these fights, he barely wins these fights. The Rakhmonov fight, people are giving him credit. He lands almost nothing. They're giving him credit because he stuffed takedowns. He still got controlled the vast majority of it. He still lost four. I guess you could make a good argument it was 3-2, but he did not win the fight. His fight with Michael Page, he is well on his way to losing it. Wins the 1st round, close margins. 2nd round, loses it to Michael Page. Can't get him down, can't strike with him. 3rd round, Michael Page ends up on top of Ian Garry for the first minute and a half. Garry ends up reversing, getting on top and sealing that one. I think when you watch him, he's an unimpressive striker. He's an unimpressive grappler. He's quite literally just fairly unimpressive. He's fought the better of level. He, has proven a little more. But that's just because Prates hasn't had the opportunity to do so. I went against Gene Silva last week, or 2 weeks ago against Bryce Mitchell. Well, he's got grappling deficiencies, and well, the fighting nerds can only take you so far. But they just had a proper game plan of wait for this guy to come in and hit him. Paredes can fight that same type of low volume game plan, hang it in front of him, throw just a little more heat, and edge this thing out. So I am going to go with Carlos Paredes to get the job done.
All right, we move on to the co-main event. We got Mingyang Zhang taking on Anthony Lionheart Smith. Zhang is a minus 500 favorite. Smith, the comeback on Smith plus 375. Sorry. Who do you got here?
Okay, so it seems like a good Smith fade opportunity. And if Smith was 2 years ago, or if Smith was any type of better version of himself, it's Smith all day. But this version of him in 2025, yeah, I can't get behind him. He's already made it well known that this is his retirement fight, and he's at the
Hmm.
end of his rope. His last two fights in particular, he's already looked like it was a retirement fight. He's just looked wonky and out of sorts. In order for him to win this fight against Zhang, he's going to have to do one of two things. Really get that real good Anthony Smith jab straight down the middle going. But he's a lot slower now, and he doesn't like the return fire. So just jabbing Zhang's face off for 15 minutes is not likely going to work. Zhang hasn't been outside of the first round his last 15 fights. You're going to have to fight fire with fire. So take him down. I think that's a natural path of victory against Zhang. Is take this guy down, show everybody how lackluster his grappling is, which I do believe it is. Crazy stat here. Anthony Smith, 24 fights in the UFC. He's only ever completed more than one takedown one time. His career most attempts in a fight, 24 UFC fights. The most he's ever attempted is 4 takedowns. He's not gonna shoot the takedown. He's gonna try to use some jabs and some low kicks. Zhang's gonna dog walk him. Eventually, it's gonna be a firefight. Zhang knocks him out. Now, this isn't a home run fight because I think Zhang's not very good. It's the version of Anthony Smith that he's fighting. I just don't think he can take the heat. If you watch back Zhang versus Ozzy Diaz, he walks through, but he gets hit a few times. Against Brenson Roberto, he's getting hit plenty. Against Tuco Tokos, he is getting hit plenty. And he's also been knocked out 3 times in the very first round in 3 of his last 5 losses.
Hmm.
So I think that just like Vitor Petrino fight, Vitor Petrino should smoke Anthony Smith. But a quick little guillotine or a quick little knockdown is not out of the realm of possibility. I just feel like Zhang's eventually going to put too much pressure on him, cause him to move backwards, land a combination, get him to shell up against the cage, unload, and that's the end of it. He announced it's his retirement fight. UFC's really making a push right now to get back into the Southeast Asian market. They'd like Zhang to win over a name guy like Anthony Smith, who's on his way out the door. So I can see why they're setting it up. It's just Zhang's got to go out there and get the job done himself. Big favorite, a little too much for my liking, but he is my pick.
Yeah, I echo a bunch of the same sentiments as you. I'm not like it's kind of like with like Carlos Prates. Like we go back, what? He got submitted. He lost to Askar Mozharov 2018.
Yeah, it's a bad look.
Luan, that's a bad loss, but like I don't know. This guy's what?
6.
26 years old. He's 19. 19 probably had way too many fights early in his career. It's just like you can only go like I tend to think that like that type of tape is irrelevant. It's only gonna lead you to like to trouble. Is that like people change, especially like at that stage in your career, 19 to 26 years old, like my God, like the differences in, responsibility and what you learn and everything like that is just astronomical. What I did see from him, because it's like a lot of like the mentality here is like he's gonna have to knock him out in the first round. But like watching the tape with Ozzy Diaz, it really kind of looks like Ozzy Diaz and the Tokos fight. This guy just almost kind of like Jean Silva. This guy likes fighting. He likes hurting people. He's got a smile ear to ear, even when he's eating some shots coming back his way. I saw somebody who's like pretty patient out there. I know he's been knocking everybody out in the first round. And then the markets are, of course, juiced properly in that range. The problem is like betting this fight is a little bit tricky because like it's hard to get Anthony Smith out of there in the first round. He can take an absolute beating. If it's his retirement fight, I don't think this guy's gonna go out without a damn fight. He's gonna try to stick in there for a while. Um, but yeah, like Zhang round one minus 115. If I were to make a play on this, it would be like a Zhang round two KO type of play, which is like plus 550. Just in the just I saw enough from the fights with Toko's, even Brenson. He's a little bit patient out there. He's a lot more patient than like all of his first round finishes would indicate. I think everything's a little bit too juiced that he gets first round knockouts, and of course that's the most likely outcome. But you know me, always a contrarian, want to be a little bit different. I think maybe he gets him in the second round here. So I think I haven't bet it yet, but that's how I'm going to approach this fight. That there's a little bit of respect, watching out for takedowns, everything like that, early from Zhang, and then round two, just the amount of damage kind of piles up and causes Anthony Smith to crumble over and die and retire. But he's got like a good commentating gig, so good for Anthony Smith. He
I
set
don't know if he
himself up for the
does.
future. What's that? Good.
I don't know if he does. You don't really see him.
I
Well,
was trying to be
you
nice.
don't really see him on a whole lot of broadcasts anymore. And it wasn't like they were giving him play-by-play opportunities. Like he
No.
basically was one of these Yves Edwards or Rashad Evans. They're like guests that come sit at the desk, talk a little bit, and then they fade away. And I didn't really read the article. I just seen the headline for it like yesterday. It was like Anthony Smith talks about his relationship with Michael Bisping and why he doesn't campaign for color commentary gigs. Basically being like, I don't ask for them, and the UFC don't call and offer them. It just seemed to me like he's going to be like Karen Bryant. Like, you get a few opportunities here and there, but otherwise they're just looking to sweep you under the rug.
And when you've had
I,
a couple first round finishes in a row,
yeah,
it's just like, oh, we're going to KB for 15 minutes.
but I'll admit, like, the guy's been knocked out a bunch. He's been hit a bunch. He's got
He's
nearly
pretty well
60
spoken.
pro fights. Yeah, he's super well spoken. Like, he's one of those guys you could point to, like, fight is not that bad for you. And then there's other guys with less than 10 pro fights who have CTE. So the human
Hmm.
body's super, super weird. Of course, we'd love to see Anthony Smith go out on a win. It's that it's they just gave him a straight up bruiser, not someone that's just gonna, play nice with him out there. Someone that's gonna try and knock him out. I just don't know that his durability's there anymore. So,
Yeah.
yeah, moving on.
Moving on down, we got David Onama taking on Giga Chikadze. Onama minus 160 favorite. Chikadze can be had for plus 140. Who you got?
Yeah, like I want to fade David Onama. I just don't think I'm gonna get there. He's been super unimpressive to me as far as his run in the UFC goes. Last fight against Roberto Romero. Romero's in on short notice. Onama's a minus 900 favorite over him, and he damn near gets knocked out in the first round. It's a pretty well tough fight for the first two. He pulls away a little bit and picks up a decision after three. His fight with Jonathan Pierce, again, it's a super close fight. He's getting taken down. He's huffing and puffing. He's massively tired. He does train an elevation over in Colorado, but you see in all of his fights since he's moved over to Factory X that like they put a huge emphasis after the first round of like getting him to calm down. He always just seems very, very tired. Of course, the Nate Landwehr fight, he flat out did gas out. Has an amazing first, not even first round, has amazing first 4 minutes. Drops Nate Landwehr in the first 4 minutes, gets on top of him in the first 4 minutes. After that, it's like he's seemingly gassed, and Nate Landwehr just takes over the rest of the fight and really puts it on him. There's a lot of these fights where it's just like, again, he doesn't move his head off the center line. For a guy that you believe is fast twitch muscle, very, very quick, very explosive, he's a little bit lumbering at time. Defensively, I don't think he's super sound. Although he's not been knocked out, he got hurt real bad against Nate Landwehr. He was getting beat against Gabriel Benitez before he was able to clip him and put him out. Roberto Romero takes the fight on less than a week's notice
And
and has
knocks him
him
out.
rocked.
Yeah.
So that is all concerning to me. The other thing that's a little concerning is Onama misses weight against Jonathan Pierce. Squeaks by a 29-28 in a real close fight, but he weighed 148 and a half. So his next fight against Roberto Romero, they move him up to 155. He makes weight, is a minus 900 favorite, and does not look good. Now he's coming back down to 145. And so the last time he tried to make this weight class, he missed it. 55 didn't work out. Now he's trying again. He's 30 years old. He's originally from Uganda, but he's lived in Kansas since he's like 10 years old. So no doubt he's the local guy. Will have a lot of local support. But I don't think that really changes anything. Like to me, he's chinny. Making 145 is going to hurt his durability even more so. He predominantly relies on his striking, but other than, just some quick power, and even that quick power knocks out Gabriel Santos. Otherwise, I think he lost the first round, knocks him out in the second. And then what? Yes, both of his fights since then are both decisions. He can hurt you, but I don't think he's the cleanest puncher. I just feel like there's ways to beat him. The problem is now I got to fade him with Giga Chikadze, who is 36 years old now, has been around the block a few times, has fought twice in the last 2 or 3 years. Body's most definitely slowing down. Low volume guy. I feel like Giga's either knockout or bust. Like otherwise, Onama probably just outlands him ever so slightly. Maybe mixes in a few takedown attempts or some, up against the fence cage control. But it's probably going to be like a relatively close fight. It's just I'm not super sold on Onama, to be honest with you. Again, yeah, it comes down to the fact that Giga's been inactive and is a little bit older. Giga's left King's MMA. He's training with Cub Swanson now. He's getting some quality rounds in. But again, he's older. He's never had a good grappling game. You go back to when he was on the Contender Series, he gets taken down 4 times and out grappled by Austin Springer. Again, he's all striking. And in this day and age, guys like Calvin Kattar and Arnold Allen, they're not better strikers than him, is that they have more volume and better cardio. So they just outwork him. He won the first round against Arnold Allen. It's rounds 2 and 3, he slows down. The Calvin Kattar fight, it's competitive early. It's a 5 rounder though. The longer it goes, Calvin just racks up a ton of damage in rounds 4 and 5. So him being low volume and having bad cardio, it's bad for business. I think Onama ever so slightly outworks him. I'll take David Onama.
Yeah, I'm taking Onama too. And I think it kind of comes down to one. I mean, he has been knocked out, but like it's like a volume game. It's an aggression game. Giga no doubt could land a absolute nuke of a kick, put him out of there, and that's 100% a big part of his win condition. I just struggled to see Giga getting up there in terms of significant strikes. He did in 5 rounds get to 128 against Calvin Kattar,
In
but
five, yeah.
inter interesting. Got taken down twice by Calvin Kattar. Not a great look. This is like a spicy meat. Like I'm picking Onama. I think if more likely than not goes to decision, it's very contentious, close. I could see it being very, very close, but I think like Onama sub is not out of the realm of possibility here. He obviously locked it up on Garrett Armfield. Got 2 takedowns there. Got the arm triangle choke there. Just in like multiple different fights when I was going through and taping, it's like he's looking for that neck. He's looking for a guillotine. There's submission attempts in multiple different fights. Clearly something that he's working on in his game. And this style. If you're at Factory X, it's like, are they going to be like, hey, David, go out there and just kickbox with Giga Chikadze? It's like, let's try to use more parts of the game. Let's work on that. Let's try that. At least try early. Try some of that early or some of the stuff that we were working on in the gym for this type of matchup where it's just like, man, it's a damn close fight. And you could still win, still win with with your boxing, but you're in danger of him throwing up a giga kick at any point in time. It's like plus 750 out there in the market right now. It's early in the week, so like not everybody's opened them up, but well, now I'm by sub. That's like my greasy thought. Haven't bet it yet, but it'll be bet. It'll be bet at some point over the next couple of days as more books open up that prop because I don't think it's going to be a very popular lean there. But everything I saw, just like oh, Nama's trying to get submissions. It's just not really necessarily showing up on paper. It did against Armfield, but like in other fights, it was kind of showing up. I'm like, he'd be smart to try. He'd be smart to try. Whether he gets it or not, that's a totally different ball game altogether. But Onama's the pick. But yeah, Onama by sub is like a little greasy sprinkle that I'm interested in. We got Michel Pereira taking on Abus Magomedov, minus 140 for Michel Pereira, plus 120 for Abus. We got.
I got Pereira. I got Pereira. Not only that, like if you are chasing a violent prop, I think Pereira knocks him out. Could happen in the first round. Could happen in the second round. I think Pereira likely knocks him out. Abus is somebody that I've never been impressed with. Yes, he's from Dagestan, moved over to Germany when he was young, but you want him to have that wrestling feel to him. But other than his last 2 fights in the UFC, like he's not really that good of a wrestler. He's not that good of a grappler. His cardio is really suspect, and his chin, it's his chin and his durability that are going to bite him in the ass even on the regional scene, right? His losses are Andreas Stahl, who went 0-2 in the UFC, Rafael Mox, who's 4-4 KSW journeyman, Mikhail Parlo, a Bellator castaway, Gassan Umalatov draw. Gassan Umalatov went 1-3 in the UFC. Then he gets knocked out by Lewis Taylor, who's 39 years old at the time and just a straight up journeyman. In 39, there's like 39 seconds, he gets KO'd. So, again, before he ever came to the UFC, not somebody that I've ever been high up on. His striking's not elite. His wrestling's not elite. His cardio's not elite. There's just a lot of holes in his game. Since he's been in the UFC, front kick over Stolfus, the Sean Strickland fight, they'll say he won the first round. But you can see him huffing and puffing after 4 minutes. Sean Strickland is seemingly not knocking out anybody these days. And yet, after less than 2 full rounds with Strickland, he's curl over. He's just curling over. So these last 2 wins, he decides, you know what? I'm going to use some wrestling. Goes out there. Well, first of all, Kyle Barahow fights him. Barahow knocks him down. That's a bad look. Then the Worley Alves fight. Worley Alves is 5'11", fighting up at 185 pounds, where he looks vastly out of shape. And Alves hits him a pile in the first round. He shells up against the cage. He's running away instead of circling. His fight with Bruno Ferreira, he damn near gets knocked out in the second round. Right? But he can rely on wrestling those guys. Against Pereira, I don't think that you can just rely on doing it for the entirety of the time unless you've got the elite cardio of a guy like Fluffy Hernandez, who for the record almost got knocked out in the first round. Now, I know that Pereira's been showing a lot of decisions lately, but you look at the Petrosky fight where he knocks him out in a minute. You look at the Fluffy Hernandez fight where he damn near has got him out of there in the first round. He can still crack at 185. I'm pretty certain of that. In terms of the age, it's like he's 3 years younger than Abus Magomedov. I think he's way faster. He's way explosive. If Abus gets tired and crumples over, he's gonna eat a flying knee to the face. If Abus stays at range, he's gonna eat some big clubbing right hand. He might eat some crazy kick, but Abus slowing down is a big problem. And if his game plan is wrestle the entire time, he's going to slow down. So I just feel like Pereira catches him at some point. Money line looks good because it's a violent fight. I get it. But if you want to chase, something a little more than that, I feel like the win condition is likely take this guy out inside the distance.
Love it, bro. Love it. I mean, you knew that I was gonna love. When do I not love my boy? Actually, I faded him against Fluffy.
Yeah,
because
it
I
was
was
a
just
nail biter
I was
the
like
first 2
Fluffy's
minutes.
Fluffy's matchup is just
Yeah.
it's just a horrible matchup. A guy with crazy cardio, 5 rounds. And, he got his ass walloped as that fight wore on. Don't get me wrong. Still took to the 5th round. Still took to the 5th round. He did not quit on himself. He will not quit on you in any sort of fight. I know he came in as a bit of a goofball, a bit of a joker, everything like this. But the guy's a specimen. The guy has skills in all aspects of the game. Maybe his wrestling defense is a little bit low, but yeah, I saw kind of the same things as you. It's like Abus Magomedov's best 2 performances in the grappling department were against very, very undersized middleweights. Worley Alves, who fought at 170, it wasn't even particularly big at 170. And then Bruno Ferreira, who I feel like every single fight when we get on here, we talk about it. We're just like, this guy's a welterweight. Like, why does he even try to fight at middleweight? I know Michel Pereira used to get down to 170, and God, I have no idea. Like the weight cutting footage from that must just be absolutely disgusting because the guy's enormous, very, very jacked, very shredded. Like he's got a middleweight frame, no question about it. And yeah, I think that's true. I know it's against Strickland, don't get me wrong, but that Abus showed that it's like if the pace gets turned up on him, he's shown even signs of gassing in the Ferreira and Worley Alves' fights, but he was able to get the takedown and hold position down there. I'm not convinced he's going to be able to do that against Pereira. I think Pereira gets back to his feet. Pereira got taken down 10 times against Fluffy. Like he was getting back up, and early on, Fluffy couldn't take him down. It was late in the later rounds where the real onslaught and a lot of the control time really came into play. Yeah, Pereira money line, Pereira by knockout. There seems to be a lot of love coming in on a boost this week, and not going to be me, pro.
Have you been looking at a natural way to relieve aches and discomfort? The CBD gummies from Cornbread Hemp are formulated to work with your body, not against it. They use only the best part of the hemp plant, the flower, for the purest and most potent CBD. Right now, Pat Mayo Experience listeners can save 30% on their first order. All you have to do is head over to cornbreadhemp.com/PatMayo and use the promo code PatMayo at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/PatMayo, the promo code PatMayo.
All right, we got Randy Brown taking on Nicholas Dalby. Brown, a minus 250 favorite. Dalby can be at for plus 210. Very, very. This is a tricky fight. This is a tricky fight, I feel like. Randy Brown last against Battle, I think his offensive grappling looked quite a bit improved. Defensive wrestling was pretty solid too. He mostly lost because of like clinch, not being able to break the clinch, being held against the cage, and some clinch strikes. Like a lot of the significant strikes that you look at on UFC stats, it's a lot of it is like Battle held him up against the cage, had the two underhooks, and it was like foot stomps and knees to the leg and stuff like that. It worked, neutralized him, and Battle got the win. It was a close fight though. A lot of like Dalby's fight, and Dalby's 40 years old. It's like he likes doing that. He doesn't necessarily have the best offensive wrestling, but like he will hold you against the cage and try to like wear you down and get a win by any means necessary. He wears guys down. He kind of does the Homer Simpson thing, like against Bond Fiend. He did the same thing. I think Randy Brown's got better cardio than that, and I will pick Brown to win. But the bet I made on this fight, I don't know if the market's still up there. I bet fight ends in split decision plus 400 between the two of these guys. Because I think Dalby's just a split decision kind of machine. He's in fights that are relatively close, tries to slow down the pace a bunch. Brown struggles to break, standing cage control, those types of things. And it's not easy to just get Dalby out of there. So, at this rate or at this point in the week, that's where my money is on. I had like for like a half unit on Dalby. Dalby Brown ends in split decision plus 400, but the pick will inevitably be Randy Brown. What about you?
I feel like you stole my notes to a T because that was everything I had to say about it. I think Brown wins. I think Brown wins a split decision in a greasy fight. And for that reason, the money line doesn't feel good at all. Like if you're holding on a money line ticket on Brown in a fight that's going to go the distance and going to be competitive and going to be, a split decision type of fight, then why would you want it? But I do still think he gets the job done. Now, if Dalby goes in with the game plan of, as Paul mentioned, holding him up against the cage and mixing in some takedowns, could have a lot of success there. Not only is it Brown's last two fights, the last one with Brian Battle, Paul mentioned just all the cage control. The one before that against Elizu Zaleski dos Santos. Dos Santos has not taken down an opponent in the UFC more than one time, or more than twice, ever in any career UFC fight. And yet he's also got 20% takedown accuracy. And he took him down four times. Kind of not almost won the fight, but won the second round, and like that certainly had a lot of success with his rear waist body lock and dragging him down at the base of the cage over and over again. Dalby's got lots of durability. He's got lots of cardio. He doesn't mind holding you up against the cage. He himself is only like 28% takedown accuracy, so not exactly great. But the threat of just push you up against the cage and mix in a couple takedowns is certainly there. I just feel like Brown's proportions. This is not in the apex. It should be a full size cage. Randy Brown's 6'3" with a 78-inch reach. Like he's an inch taller than Mingyang Zhang and has a 3-inch reach advantage on Mingyang Zhang, who is a 205er. Brown's just so goddamn long that I feel like the thing with Dalby is that he's not super defensively sound. He sits on the outside, just gets outworked, 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 outworked. And if you gas, he will take over. But Brown's not really showing a propensity to gas in these fights. So even though Brown's 35, he's getting a little bit older. He's becoming a little more untrustworthy. I feel like he's got that Matador style, and it's worked against. Dalby's not young himself for the record, but
No.
it's worked against older guys. And all of Brown's fights against older guys, really. Zaleski dos Santos, Muslim Salikov, Francisco Trinaldo. It's like he fights well to that. You're shorter than me. You're not super explosive because you're a little bit older. Touch and go from the outside. And I do expect it to work. Split decision, I see that all day. Juicing up a better money line, I'm going to take Brown specifically by decision. But the straight up money line on an otherwise likely tight and greasy fight, I don't feel great about it.
Yep. So we're on the same page there. We got Ikram Aliskerov taking on Andre Muniz, minus 500 for Aliskerov, plus 350 for Muniz. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I can appreciate they're putting it somewhat early because when Aliskerov, for no reason, shits in my apple pie, at least I'll be able to do something. Like, It feels so good. Ikram is going to just walk all over Muniz. He's my pick. I like it. Minus 500 seems too good to be true. So what am I missing? Or what could
Yeah, there's been
possibly go
action
wrong?
coming in on the other side.
On Muniz, that's what I mean. Like the thing with Ikram is like you can't say he's invincible. Although, yeah, both of his losses is Khamzat Chimaev and Robert Whitaker, and both of them are uppercuts up the middle.
Yep.
So you don't have to worry about that from Andre Muniz, very likely. I could see a world where it's like Aliskerov's takedown defense is not elite. Yeah, he's Russian. Yes, he's a Sambo guy, but maybe Muniz could trip him up to the ground. Maybe that happens. Outside of that, Aliskerov's last four fights have ended all inside of the first round. Maybe Muniz could just survive the first round and Aliskerov completely falls off a cliff. Like those are scenarios that I suppose could happen. But yeah, there's nothing here to like about Andre Muniz. First and foremost, he's now 35 years old and he's 1-3 or 1-2 over his last three fights. But
Hmm.
beyond that, keep in mind he beats Bartosz Fabinski in 2020. I rate that, but Bartosz is a bum. Beats Jacare, an older version of him, but that puts him on the map. And then he subs Eric Anders that same year in 2021. So that's a good little run. After that, it's been no good. He spent 14 minutes on Uriah Hall's back, couldn't sub him. He got soundly outgrappled by Brandon Allen, who outlasted him, beat him up, and then choked him out.
Yep.
Then Paul Craig beats him up standing, takes him down, and ground and pounds him. Bad cardio, bad durability, bad pace, bad wrestling. His elite jiu-jitsu, it ain't as elite as you think it is. And then that last fight with Jung Young Park, he took Park down like 11 times and landed 17 significant strike, no ground and pound, no great positional control. There's a solid argument that he loses the fight based on he's not doing anything, he's getting outworked. It's a real bad look. So the UFC, they want to get rid of this guy, no doubt about it. They say, hey, why don't you fight Ikram Aliskerov in June 15, 2024? Muniz says, you know what? I'm a little injured right now. I can't do it. They come back. They're like, hey, why don't you fight Ikram Aliskerov on February 21st, 2025? He says, oh, you know what? I would passport issues. Man, I just have passport issues. So they're like, okay, okay. How'd you like to fight Ikram Aliskerov on April 26th? They're not letting this go, man.
I didn't
They ain't
notice
letting
that.
this go.
Twice canceled already.
They're
Yep.
like, you're gonna fight him and you're gonna take your beating because that's just the way things go. In victory, he's proven to be boring. In defeat, he just fades and he's got nothing there. Liscarov's a much better striker, hits a lot harder than him, is gonna have, I believe, the takedown defense to keep this upright for the first two rounds. And then if Paul Craig's beating you up and out grappling you in those type of spots, I can't imagine Aliskerov win. He's not fought Andre Muniz. This is he's not technically entered the cage or had a fight since a year and a half, right? It's been a year and a half layoff, some partly due to injuries, some partly because of this. 30, again, there's just so many reasons why I wouldn't want nothing to do with this guy. Could he win the fight? Yeah, it's an MMA fight. Maybe he can trip him up and hold, maintain position for two of the three rounds, but it seems like there's a beating coming the other way for him. So I got Aliskerov. I don't think I can put it on the top, but he's likely going to be included within the top four. He rolls here, right? I think. But let me see weigh-ins. Let me try to get all the info I can. Could be a trap, but I think Aliskerov rolls him up.
Yeah, I do too. But the unders in this are just like super juice this week. Like really juice. Like Aliskerov inside the distance. I know he's an absolute finisher. He finishes all of his fights. Like watching tape, I kind of thought he looks a little bit sloppy on the feet, even in his wins and stuff. Like I don't love his game. I don't love his game, but I think it will be enough to get by this test. But interestingly, Muniz over the course of 10 UFC fights has never been knocked down. Um, there's been ways to get the fight to the mat and then pound him out while he's down there or submit him in the case of Brendan Allen. But I just thought that was kind of an interesting thing. You're usually the the overs guy, and it's like a minus 125 over 1.5. Probably a little dodgy in this fight, but kind of interesting.
I don't mind it. Yeah, I don't
I
mind
don't
that.
mind it. I don't mind it. Like Muniz isn't that easy to just get out of there early. Frankly, as anybody who finished him in the first round, nobody. That Paul Craig fight though was so ugly, man. It's just like it's like is that Paul Craig or is that like Floyd Mayweather? Like, he's just like dancing on him, just dancing on him on the feet, and you're like, oh, maybe Paul Bear Jew Craig is like reimagined, and it's just like nah, not really. Every other fight since then, it's just like. basically just getting worked on the feet. It just kind of shows how limited Andre Muniz's striking game is. Yeah, I think that Aliskerov absolutely torches him on the feet, but um, wouldn't be. Yeah, I think like an over 1.5 could be a bet that I make this week. Something that has my attention, just because I think that the market's just overcooked to the unders this week. Like it's not easy to get Muniz out of there in 7.5 minutes. So
Yeah, I agree. It's not his chin that falters. It's not his submission
it's
defense. It's his
cardio.
cardio. And
Yeah.
once his cardio's done, he quits, right? But his
Hmm.
cardio in both situations against Paul Craig and Allen, it's like he's not getting finished in the first minute or two in the fight. You got to beat him up for 2 rounds. And near the
Yep.
end of the second, he falls apart. So Aliskerov would be the same thing. If you take him to the deep part of the second, we're hitting an over. The fact that it's plus money on over 1.5,
No, it's
it's
not
like,
plus, but it's like a pick.
yeah, it's close to pick them for an over 1.5. You don't generally see that if they even offer 1.5 at all. So I'm on the same page as that.
Like I understand what they have is like Aliskerov basically finishes everybody early, but he's also, been running through some pretty low level competition. Let's be completely honest. When he's, Warley Alves,
Makes a boost
bum.
Magomedov look real bad in hindsight. Warley
Um,
last 2 minutes against
Phil Hawes, like
yeah.
one of the chinniest guys in the division's history, and then Mario Sousa on the Contender Series with the Kimura sub round one.
Well, we've seen it.
He's getting lit up on the feet a bit in that fight too. It's like it wasn't pretty. I don't think Aliskerov's all that good. Won a bunch of money fading him against Robert Whitaker because that market made no sense that week.
Yeah, I
But
was at the
nobody's
same
here to
thing.
watch me pat myself on the back, but I just did. It's too late for that now. We move on. We've got Matt Danger Schnell taking on Jim the Brick Flick. Tell him the Brick sent you. Remember when he was like promoting all like that
Oh, hell's
that
yeah.
weed shop back at home? Those were some great Instagram posts. Schnell, I mean, it's such an interesting fight because like Schnell is, if you watch the two of them, how they move, everything like that, it's just like Schnell is just leaps and bounds more talented, probably in most aspects of the game. Jimmy Flick is like, he's if he has you hurt or he grabs your neck or something like that, it's like the guy's badass. He's good at finishing the job in that respect. But like everything else in between, outside of a chin, and like striking defense and ability to not let that chin get hit, like it just like these guys don't look anywhere on the same level. But therein lies the problem with backing Matt Schnell as a favorite. There has been some action coming in on Schnell, or sorry, on Flick this week, and I understand why. I do struggle to see Flick winning like a decision here, unless he just gets takedowns, holds top position. I think it's like
It's not
Flick,
going to decision. He's getting
Flick.
knocked out or he's choking the other guy. Yeah, that's it.
You know how crazy I am though. It's like there's like 12 to 1 on like Flick by knockout out there right now, and I haven't touched it yet, Cody. Wanted to talk to you. I know the Brick doesn't throw heat really at all. He barely even throws strikes. But if you give me a 1 in 10 chance to fade Matt Schnell's chin, I think I'm gonna take it. So I haven't done it as I said many times this week. I'm gonna end up with money on Jimmy Flick for the lulz, for the culture, for everything I believe in MMA betting. If you give me a 10% chance, like if you're sending Cody Saftik in there against Matt Schnell and they're giving me 12 to 1, I consider it. I
What's up?
consider.
What's
I've seen
up,
you hit some
dog?
bags. I've seen you hit some bags back in the CSM days there. One of the that project you did with like
Andrew Nolan's video. Yeah.
Andrew Nolan's video. Cody was assaulting the bags. I would definitely bet Cody plus 1,200 against Matt by knockout against Matt Chanel's chin. So yeah, I know it's one of those things where it's like, well, Jesus Aguilar versus
Shannon the Cannon Ross.
Dan the Cannon Ross. Just like, well, Jesus Aguilar's never knocked anybody out. And it's just like,
Yeah.
well, that's because he hasn't met Shannon Ross's chin. That's how I feel about this fight. Everyone's going to be going after the sub, and that's obviously the more likely outcome. That's how Flick tries to win fights. It's like, what if Flick just like goes, screw it, I'm going headhunting and just whales bombs and one of them lands. That's how I'm approaching this fight. Flick is gonna be the pick for me, but I'm actually gonna play him by knockout for the culture. You?
Yeah, it's gonna be a violent fight either way. This is quintessential dogger pass. Well, whatever the term means, it's this fight. So Matt Schnell was a minus 200 favorite yesterday. So I gotta just auto fade and take me some Jimmy Flick. And it seems like other people are jumping on Flick's side here. Let me just explain why you don't want Matt Schnell as a favorite. First of all, this is a flyweight fight. So betting a 2-1 favorite is always gonna be a little bit dicey. And this is what you're getting. It's a 125 fight. Second thing is Matt Schnell, who's 1-4 in his last 5 fights. Overall, he has 7 losses in the UFC. All 7 of them are inside the distance. He's been knocked out 5 times. He's been choked out twice. The 2 submission losses, including the last one in Cody Durden, you can argue he gets hurt and then he gives up the submission. So it's super dicey, man. His last fight against Cody Durden, he's supposed to fight Alessandro Costa. Costa pulls out. Durden comes in. They do the fight at 135, despite the fact they're both flyweights. He has a good first 3 minutes, as Matt Schnell often does. Fast, like Paul's saying. Footage would suggest much better striker than Flick. We see all that. But the longer the fight goes, he just starts getting out muscled. The more he gets out muscled, he slows down. He gets hit. He gets hurt. He finds a way out. He retires afterwards. He takes his gloves off and he puts them down in the center of the cage and says, "Goodbye, everybody. I'm gone." Retires. Goes home and says, you know what? I'm going to reel that one back. Would you give me one more? And they're like, "Sure, we'll give you one more." And this is it. So he's already retired in his last fight. No doubt he's thinking about retiring again. Same reason of Anthony Smith. It's his retirement fight. It just doesn't usually really work good for these guys. So you got a 35-year-old flyweight, finished all 7 times and all 7 losses that he's had in the UFC. He's retired in his last fight. He's super chinny. Why would you bet this guy is a 2-1 favorite? Like, it really makes no sense. The other thing is his run. His last fight against Cody Durden, choked out, loses. Before that, Steve Erceg knocks him out. Before that, Matus Nicolau knocks him out. Before that, he beat Sumaderji. If you remember that fight, he's on skates. Like, he's damn near this close to getting knocked out himself. Pulls off a triangle choke win. Before that, he loses to Royval. Before that's a no contest, but he had lost. Turns out the other guy's on steroids, but all the same, he loses. And before that, it's a split decision win over Tyson Nam. So of his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fights, he's won 2 of them. One's a split decision, and one he's absolutely getting his ass kicked in. He could be on an 8-fight losing streak right now in a different universe. There's literally no way that you would want to jump on match now. Now, what about Jimmy Flick? Like, Jimmy Flick has no striking, right? His durability is not very good. His striking defense is not very good. His wrestling is honestly really better than his striking, sure, but his wrestling is mediocre at best. But god damn, his submission grappling is legit. And whereas his durability is massively questionable, he has a lot of heart. Like, this guy will take the beating and keep chugging along. There's a bunch of these fights where he is losing the fight, but he just stays in it long enough to just get that one little moment, and he can capitalize on that one little moment. Schnell is the polar opposite. He's better in every area, and then he'll make one little mistake and put himself in one bad position, and Flick's going to be there to capitalize. Nate Maness is way better than Matt Schnell. You take those shots, you can hang in that fight, you can get a takedown there, you can get a submission attempt there. Something will eventually present itself against Matt Schnell, and I think Flick is going to grab it. Last thing I'll leave you with, it's a good live betting spot because Matt Schnell might 10-8 him in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And if he gets knocked out, well, then who cares? He didn't lose anything on it. But if he's still breathing after that first round, if you can see he took Schnell's best punch after that first round, yeah, that's when he'll turn on, dude. Just like the Malcolm Gordon fight. It's like Homer Simpson this thing long enough to get on top. And Jimmy Flick is one opportunistic guy when he grabs the neck. So I expect him to submit. I say submission because I've seen Schnell rocked, cover up, and give you a submission. But Paul's not wrong. If you just take this guy's back and flatten him out and get punching, and he's not doing anything, and the ref says, defend yourself, like, why don't you just keep punching and get the TKO? Flick also bad striking, but he'll just chuck a overhand bomb and shoot a takedown. That overhand bomb lands over someone like Schnell, it might just put him down, man. It might. It might. I got a lot of favorites on this card, but yeah, Schnell ain't one of them. So I'm going to take Jimmy the Brick Flick to get the job done here.
All right. We got Evan Elder taking on Gage Young, minus 200 for Elder. Young can be had for plus 170. It was supposed to be some guy who was seemingly Ahmad Hassanzada was supposed to take on Mitch Ramirez, and then Ramirez withdrew, and then Elder stepped in to take on Hassan Zada, and then Hassan Zada is in jail for seemingly doing stuff to like a minor.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we're
pretty bad
probably not
look.
gonna see this guy again.
I hope, yeah, I hope not.
Thankfully. But yeah, so we're left with Elder versus Gage Young. Who you got in this one?
Yeah, it's a weird one because as you mentioned, they're both short notice, but also like Evan Elder is coming in on short notice. He's from Missouri. Yeah, he trains a little bit at Kill Cliff here and there, but he's basically a local guy to them. So it makes sense why he was getting brought in the first time around. Gage Young, meanwhile, he's the same thing. He's from Missouri. Like he would be considered a local guy, but I don't think he's to that level. We saw him in the Contender Series against Quinlan's Salik, and although it's impressive enough that Quinlan did not want to stand with this guy, he just took him down 9 times on like
Hmm.
25 attempts. Either he got them or he didn't, but he got a lot of control inside of the clinch. He would just at range just touch him up with the jab or a right hand and then shoot the takedown again. I like that Gage was willing to come forward. I like that he was willing to throw, but he looks a little bit small for the weight class. He looks a little bit stiff and robotic in there. I wouldn't say that he's, got any X factor to his game. He's not an elite wrestler. He's not an elite striker. He just kind of like struggles in spots. So again, loses on the contending series, doesn't get the contract, and now after one win over in FAC, they're giving him this short notice replacement. He was supposed to fight May 2nd against this Court Wale. But you want to bring up that guy's picture real quick, Paul, in your own Tapology? Guess viewers can
Court
just.
Wale.
Well, it was just like, yeah, he's supposed to fight next week, May 2nd. He's fighting Evan Elder now, but it's not like he's short notice. He had a fight coming up. But you go from fighting that guy to fighting Evan, and that guy's a 45er. You go from fighting that guy to fighting Evan Elder on short notice. It's not likely going to go all that good.
Yeah, I feel like this guy worked like I feel like this guy fixed my computer like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Now, Elder's a tough guy. Like, he lost his debut against Preston Parsons, but he too is on short notice for that fight, and he moved up a weight class. He's at 170 pounds, so he got taken down, but his striking looked good. It's the Nazim Sadikov fight. Evan Elder wins the first 2 rounds. Like, his boxing is actually pretty decent.
Yeah.
Moves well off his back foot, cuts angles, stays in it, wins the first two. He gets busted up in the third, and a cut opens, and it's a cut stoppage. Otherwise, he's going to win that fight. Beats Gennaro Valdez. Alemany got clipped in that one, got knocked down, gets back up. Solid output, solid pace. He's got good cardio that allows him to recover if he does get hurt. And then against Darius Flowers, he kind of gave up a temporary takedown at one point, which is not a great look. But
Hmm.
outside of that, it's like, it's striker versus striker, and Flowers can't grapple at all. So he exploits that and he gets the submission win. I feel like Elder at 28, training a little bit with some different variety of training partners, high level coaches, high level staff. He's got his feet wet in the UFC. This is now his 5th outing for them. He's a little bit less short notice than Gage Sanders. To me, it really seems like a lot of the cards are in his favor and that he should be able to go out there and edge this thing. It's likely going to be a fun fight, violent fight, striking affair. Evan Elder just slightly more refined, slightly more polished, slightly more experienced, and slightly more prepared. And therefore, he's going to edge it out and get the win.
Yeah, my only notes were like pick is Elder, but striking and takedown defense leave a lot to be desired in this fight. I'm not entirely sure how the wrestling is going to shake out between the two of them, to be perfectly honest. Because if you're getting taken down by Darius Flowers, then pretty much anybody is in play to get a takedown against you. So I'm not entirely sure, and I don't love Elder in this spot. But outside of that Sal Kid fight, and Sal Kid is emerging as like a decent Australian prospect for sure. As a good, good prospect, actually, in complete fairness. Outside of that, though, it's just like I watched some of these like FAC and some of like the, from that regional scene, the Missouri regional scene or wherever the hell it was, and it was really low level. This is a big step up from like the regular stuff that Gage Young is up to. And like he did okay in that fight, but it's like he lost very, very cleanly, got taken down 9 times. Um, ate a lot of like long range weapons from Sal Kid as well. So I'm with you. It's Elder for me. Better training, a little bit further along in his journey. Maybe if they rebook this fight in like 3 years, Gage Young ends up being a half decent prospect. I think the jury's still out on him. And for the purpose of this show, I got to make a pick, so it's Evan Elder. We got Chris Gutierrez taking on John Castaneda. Rebooked fight. They were supposed to fight At bantamweight, I think something happened in terms of like Castaneda being sick. I think he
He
was
was
talking
sick,
to he
yeah.
was talking to James Lynch. I watched an interview with him to kind of figure out what happened, and he had like the flu. And then on fight day, he pulled out. So they had already like moved to like 140 that week. Now they decided like let's just fight each other. Let's move it up to 145, and let's do this thing. Has anything changed in your approach for this fight? I forget who you were picking when this fight was originally booked. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, have the lines changed? I don't know. I think I'd just
Minus
take
140 Gutierrez, plus
Yeah,
120
yeah. Yeah, it
Castaneda.
was
It's
a
pretty
dogger
similar.
pass for me last time. John Castaneda slightly better wrestling. The one problem with Chris Gutierrez is that nobody likes this guy's style. They don't. You can say Torrance Finney is boring. That's fair. I understand that. And Gutierrez is the polar opposite. He'll land 100 significant strikes. But it's just leg kick, run away, leg kick, run away, leg kick, run away. A lot of the times he's outlanding his opponents and he's losing the fight. The damage never looks like damage. He's got no real sustainable knockout power. His takedown defense is just not good. Him fighting at 135 against Castaneda, a little bit better for him because Castaneda obviously had a bad weight cut. Castaneda's getting older, and I don't know, he just seems like a little bit of a bigger, denser guy. So if you can have a version of him that's not at 100%, that dehydrated himself to make the class, then you can use that speed, use that footwork, avoid him. He's not going to come in with a wrestling heavy game plan. You can win. Now the fight's at 145 pounds. Castaneda's presumably feeling good, ready to go. Being at 145, I feel like he's just going to be a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, a little bit more energy, a little bit more filled out, and then he should be able to get these takedowns. Chris Gutierrez as a favorite over anybody doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I had a lot of investment on this guy in his last fight against Quang Li, like a lot. And like even though he won, man, did he look bad against an otherwise contender series guy who's not experienced, is not leveled. You just headlined a card with Song Yadong.
And
You just
Finn,
went 5 rounds with Song Yadong, and you barely beat Kwang Lee, who took you down twice. Even you go back to his fight with Cody Durden. Cody Durden's a 125er. Cody Durden's able to take him down and control him. So him going up to 145 does not seem like a great idea. And even though it's against a fellow 135er, you're giving this guy 10 more pounds to fill out. I can see split decision. Every Gutierrez fight goes to decision. So take it, go to decision. But why not take it as another good split opportunity? Gutierrez lands a bunch of flim flam type strikes. Castaneda's going to land a few takedowns and have some control time. It just depends what the judges are looking at. It's a dogger pass for me. I got John Castaneda.
yeah, I don't agree. I don't disagree with much there, to be perfectly honest. Castaneda, it's just like you know what he's gonna do. What the game plan's gonna be for him every single time he goes out there. Like it's like the Kyung Ho Kang fight. 3 takedowns. Didn't get that much control time. I think he would have more success in this matchup than Kang, who's actually a pretty half decent grappler. But 3 takedowns, got like 2.5 minutes of control time, 111 significant strikes. Um, it's pretty rare with Gutierrez unless you're really not able to get those takedowns for him to go completely nuclear. His best in his career was against Alatengheili, 110. And those are probably a lot of leg kicks, just like, stopping his opponent from closing distance. I'm with you. It's dogger pass for me. It's probably gonna end up being like a pass. Probably more of a fight that I'm more interested from a live betting perspective because I just want to be able to see if they're able to get takedowns, everything like that. Or like how those first initial kind of engagements in takedowns, how they look, how they come together for Castaneda. I think that's kind of important. So pre-flop, sure, I'll go with Castaneda, but no, I don't love it. We got Damon Blackshear taking on Alatengheili. Minus 460 for Blackshear, plus 360 for Alatengheili. Who you got?
Yeah, like Blackshear's just waiting to get knocked out. Like I truly believe he's got really kind of lackluster striking defense. Doesn't really move his head. His chin, I don't think is like really all that good. He's got nasty grappling, no doubt about it. If you can just force grappling exchanges, then this guy's gonna shine. But even in his last fight with Cody Gibson, the entirety of the first round is just him not really getting going and shelling up. The post-fight interview, they kind of asked him about it, and he was like, "Oh man, I felt real sick in there, and I felt like I was gonna throw up." And then in the second round, I felt a little bit better and I went out there and won. It's just like, oh man, is he not trustworthy? Is he just having a bad night? Is he not gonna fight with a sense of urgency? Can he not take a punch? There's a lot of things I don't really care for. But no doubt about it, submitting Cody Stamann and Cody Gibson, the Cody Killer. This guy's got a nasty submission game. He's obviously got a twister submission as well in the UFC. If he gets a hold of you, he really, really, really just dominates the position, opens up the submission attempts, ground and pounds a little bit, and then eventually just slinks under the neck and puts you out cold. So I can really appreciate what his game is, but eventually someone's just going to knock him out standing. Alatengheili's not really shown that big, big, big power that would lead me to an underdog spot on him. But I mean, he's like very physically strong. He can stuff takedowns. He can brawl a little bit. He can stand his ground in the pocket. I feel like Damon Blackshear is going to have an advantage all day. But this one, similar to the Ikram Aliskerov fight, it seems very straightforward, let's say. Aliskerov should go out there and handle business against Muniz. It's a great style clash. Blackshear should be able to go out there. He should be able to drag Alatengheili down to the mat. And then once it is there, he's going to have a significant grappling advantage. If he doesn't outright lock up a submission attempt, he'll probably just win 2 of the 3 rounds. But part of me thinks that the takedowns are going to be way harder than I want to believe, and that at any point, if Alatengheili just launches something over the top, could clip him and put him away. So I will be nervous about this thing as I'm watching it, but it doesn't change the fact that Blackshear is a better fighter, got a much higher potential, much higher ceiling, and should be able to go out there and get a submission victory, if not, a clear, concise decision. So I will take Damon Blackshear, but not somebody that I'm super high on a long-term level.
Yeah, my worry with Blackshear is just like his durability. Which I mean, outside for Kevin or for Alatengheili, outside of what the Kevin Kroom fight, it's been all decisions. In fairness, nobody's finishing him. He's surviving a lot of these things. I do worry about Blackshear's cardio. We've seen that show its nasty head in some fights over the course of his career. I believe it was the Zalal fight, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, yeah, when you got no,
Yeah, 59 to 19 in round three. Significant strikes.
yeah, more concerning, Montel Jackson knocks him out in 18 seconds. So
There's
it's
the
like, yeah,
durability issues.
that's what I'm
He's
concerned about.
really good early, but in terms of lane, like, close to 5 to 1 on the guy. I've never really been a there are people out there that are like big Blackshear guys. I don't know. I don't really see it to that degree. Like he's a 30-year-old bantamweight. This is his prime of his career, I think, at this point. But it's like I still see a lot of holes in his game. I don't know if Alatengheili is the guy to exploit it, but I think it's Dogger Pass. I have no intention to get on Blackshear here. If I were to bet anything, it would probably be like Alatengheili by knockout at some sort of absurd price because he's hasn't historically been the easiest guy to just like take down control over the course of 15 minutes. He will go out there and sling. It's plus 750. I don't necessarily love that. Alatengheili, it's Dogger Pass for me. Really quick turnaround for Blackshear. He got boxed up a little bit against Cody Gibson. Like all of the stuff, just I wouldn't be shocked to see Blackshear go down in a fight that he should, in theory, win. But it's like a lot of the things that he does. I don't know if he's just going to be able to extend it over the course of 15 minutes, especially if there's some sort of, if Alatengheili is able to fight back, able to extend it, make it a little bit ugly. That round three could get a little bit dicey. That's all I'll say. So Dogger pass for me, probably a pass though. We got Malcolm Wellmaker taking on Cameron Saaiman, minus 115 for Wellmaker. Saaiman could be after minus 105. Basically a straight pick 'em, Cody. Who you got?
Yeah, it's tough to get a read on it. So, like, on one hand, Wellmaker looks legit, man. This kid moves well, got tons of power in his hands, but he's 30 years old. And to this
He's
point,
not a
just
prospect.
no, he's not a prospect. He spent 4 years as an amateur. And even though he's like once beaten as an amateur, the guy that beat him wasn't all that good. And then as a pro, it's like he mostly just toils away in like, the Georgia regional scene. Hasn't really jumped up for this breakout performance. On the contender series, again, I do not rate the guy he was fighting, but Wellmaker can crack. He's an athletic kid. He's got good, movement all around, and he's got some decent power in both hands. So Cameron Saaiman, his chin is most definitely a question mark. And in that regard, I feel like Wellmaker most definitely is live to just clip him and knock him out. But he's also making he's making his UFC debut at 30 years old and really hasn't fought a deep level of competition. So I'm just a little bit hesitant to jump on him. Cameron Saaiman, meanwhile, he's only 24 years old. Like this kid was
Hmm.
fighting in the UFC quite young. And what I like about him, he's got solid volume, he's got excellent scrambles, he's got an all-around, well-rounded game plan. Trains out of the same team as Dricus Du Plessis, who's always had really good things to say about him. And yeah, he's coming off two losses, but the Christian Rodriguez fight, Rodriguez proved to be a solid enough prospect. And then Payne Talbot absolutely butchers him. And Talbot, very good striker. We found out that there's a way to beat this kid, and Simon's really not a grappler to that level. So he was forced to stand with Talbot, and he got murdered in that effort. Now, this fight with Malcolm Wellmaker, one, I really don't think that Wellmaker's on the same level striking wise as a Peyton Talbot. And two, it's like he's taken a year and a half off, or not quite a year and a half off. He's taken a year off, cleared his heads, still only 24 years old, has better volume, has better ground game, I believe, better scrambling. If he can drag Wellmaker into the deeper rounds, I really do feel like he'll be able to exploit him a little bit. And beyond that, if it's just striker versus striker, you got power versus, that volume and that pressure game of Cameron Saaiman. So I honestly, I got a soft spot for this kid. I think he's very talented. Durability is an issue, but I like that he's taken the year off, and now he's got a chance to go out there and address that issue by just not getting knocked out by Wellmaker. Outwork this guy, take him to some deeper waters, secure the victory. I'll take Cameron Saaiman, but because there's the most definite chance that he gets KO'd here, it's not really high up on my list of assured plays this week.
Yeah, it's fair, man. Yeah, when I was looking at it, so I watched the way I kind of went through it is like I initially watched like the Bramheld fight. I'm like, this guy kind of looks pretty young. So it's like I assume that Wellmaker was like some sort of like prospect. I'm like, man, his movement looks really sick. Like, what a filthy knockout. Wow, something. And then it's like, oh, he's 30. Wow, how did that happen? So then I went back and I watched like the Taylor Moore fight from Conflict MMA 59, Zachariah Kamara from B2 Fighting Series 181. These are split decisions that he won. A lot of those fights is like he's getting held up against the cage. It's like if you can make this fight ugly, don't let him dance. He's got great footwork, great mobility, and he's got some power, natural athletic ability. But it's like you got to make this fight dirty. And I think what we have seen from Kevin Simon, as you said, 24 years old, um, training with, the best gym at least in South Africa. Has a year off after, I mean, that knee in round one probably could have been a good time to end that fight. The follow-up in round two of just, that those final 21 seconds is like the writing was on the damn wall at this point. But you send your fighter back out there. But it's good that he's had over a year now to shake the cobwebs. It's actually 13 months to the day that we're recording this right now. Um, yeah, I think go out there, make this ugly. Try to work in some takedowns, or at least standing cage control. I'm with you, Simon, and we'll see where the number goes. But like a Simon by submission could be sneaky because we don't really know what Wellmaker's up to when he gets taken to the mat for extended periods of time. A lot of those fights on the regional scene, and some of those fights that he's taken on the regional scene against like pretty low level competition, going to split and majority decisions. So just because he had one brilliant performance, that's how like that's the ceiling. That's what like a great performance from Wellmaker looks like. That Bramhald knockout on Contender Series. I've seen when things don't go all that well for him, and it's not so pretty. And yeah, like a lot of his submission wins are against Christopher Wingate, who's concerned 1-5, so he's actually Christopher Losegate. Langston Sykes, he was 0-0, now he's 1-4. It's just like he's just been crushing cans on the regional scene. Lost by armbar in 2019 to somebody named Carlos Andres as an amateur. Carlos Andres is 1-0 as a pro at this point in his career. And had lost by submission to absolute nobodies. So when I listened to interviews from this Wellmaker guy, he was kind of talking up. Sorry, I gotta move on. But he was kind of talking up that it's like, I've already won in this game. He had like different businesses and stuff that he was running. It's just like, it sounded like just getting to the UFC was like, I've made it.
Hence
That
why he's
that's
30 making his debut. He
yes.
didn't fight all the
He never
necessary
expected
times
to
when he
be
could
here.
have.
Exactly. He's like, I've already won, so that's that. Um, quickly, I know that you have Cody has a hard out here, so we got Amorim, Viana. Amorim's minus 800. Viana's plus 550. I mean, Viana's probably KO or bust if she wins. Your thoughts?
It's minus 800. Listen, Viana has lackluster grappling. They say she's a black belt. She gets subbed when she loses. Amorim just needs one trip. And whether she needs to cheat and grab your glove or pull your hair or put a hand up your shirt, who knows? She's willing to do it to get the win. I can appreciate that. The fact that she subbed Demopoulos is pretty impressive enough, as Demopoulos is super durable. I can't see why she wouldn't submit Viana. So all it's going to take is one little trip up and it's going to happen. Minus 800. The other women's fight, Chelsea Chandler versus Joselyne Edwards. Edwards has been in like 8 UFC fights. 6 of them are decisions. 3 of them are split decisions. A lot of times she wins, it's by split. She loses, it's by split. There was even the fight 3 fights back, so 2 fights back against Nora Cornole. I thought she won. She had all the control time. They're always close fights. And what's she right now, Paul? Minus 280? I don't think you want to be betting a minus
No,
280 Joselyne Edwards. No doubt about it. Chelsea Chandler is also not very good, but her last 3 fights have gone to decision. This fight is going to go to decision. If it goes to decision, it becomes subjective. Control time versus a little bit of striking. The 2 women's MMA fights on this, honestly, I just don't think there's any value on any of them.
I
But
agree.
Amorim should absolutely roll. Edwards at minus 280, like, should roll, but I ain't so certain about that one. And so let's just talk about this last because this is a good fight. Roberto Romero versus Timmy Cuamba, and Romero is like a slight favorite. Like maybe I'm buying too much into this guy because of one good fight in the UFC, but I like him. He's your cast iron durable Mexican guy who's going to fight you from the pocket and constantly move forward. He's on short notice against Onama. Onama's a 45er. Yeah. Okay, I get it. Onama's infinitely better than this guy, and he stands his ground. What I liked about him in that fight is he's fighting just like a YOLO type fight. Hey, I didn't expect to get to the UFC. It's a short notice call up. My opponent's a minus 900 favorite over me. I'm supposed to lose this fight, so why not go out and just have a time? And he does. He scrambles well. His cardio holds up. His durability holds up. And he's willing to just push pressure on you. Timmy Cuamba, this kid grew up in Las Vegas. He's been a training partner to all the best guys in Las Vegas. It's not clicked. Now I understand he's young. He's sure he's getting better, but pressure fighters break this guy every time. On the contender series against Mateo Vogel, Vogel won that fight. Vogel outstruck him 67 to 43 and took him down. Took his
Hmm.
back. Almost caught him in a rear naked choke. How did Cuamba win that fight? I don't know. Why Cuamba got a contract out of it? I also do not know. But since he's been in the UFC, Bellagio Oki moves him back. He's constantly got him on the back foot. He outlands him 60 to 33, and he wins the decision. Lucas Almeida, very rudimentary. All he does is he moves him back, calls him to fight off his back foot, and use superior volume. Scores a knockdown as well. Roberto Romero will do exactly that. Now, Cuamba will try to take him down. I just feel like Roberto's get up game is good enough. His scrambles are good enough that if he does get taken down, scramble, get back up, and then go back to being the aggressor. I think he can do it. The money line's like fairly close, so I don't feel terrible about this one. I think Roberto Romero just dog walks him and ends up winning a decision, if not clipping him with something.
100%, man. I actually agree with like kind of everything. The chick fights, too chalky for my taste. And I liked Romero. Like I liked what I saw from Romero at least. Now, does this turn into like a fight? Like some of the people who come in on short notice, big underdogs, yada yada yada, and then like they meet their match. I'm not so sure. It's just like Cuamba. I haven't been impressed with. I thought he lost on contender series as well. And yeah, Romero's was absolutely throwing, and he came on short notice. Like I expect him to have much better cardio. Like that's where it kind of fell off from. It was he damn near knocked David Onama down. Frankly, he was credited with a knockdown. I wasn't 100% sure on that, but yeah, it's like I don't really need to force any action on these women's fights because every single week Cody and I are breaking down so many more things over on the Patreon. If you're more interested in more from us, that's great. If you're not, and you just want the UFC stuff, that'll be on the Bookie Beatdown page, or Bookie Beatdown YouTube page, and on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Those are all set up now. But if you want more, we're breaking down Tough Enough this week. Cage Warriors 188. There's isn't odds for that, but people over there have been calling me Cage Warriors Paul. So the
Been on a
people
heater.
have been on a Cage Warriors heater. It's been pretty fun. There's some BKFC. Not sure we're gonna really get to that this week because there's KSW and Octagon as well. There's just no shortage of MMA every single week, and Cody and I are breaking it down to the best of our ability as much as humanly possible. So, yeah, if you want to hop on over there, link is in the description for that. If you don't, that's cool. We will see you next week for another episode breaking down UFC fights as always. And then, yeah, UFC 315. So 2 weeks from now, the new host of the Dogger Pass podcast on Mayo Media Network will be revealed. At least that's the plan. Maybe those plans change. I'll let you know next week. But that was the plan I had with Pat before he went on vacation. Anyway, that is it for us this week. Hope you enjoyed the show.
PRP, real quick. Just real quick. Here's the PRP.
Oh my gosh, I had
it's all
so many
good.
announcements.
I know, and I got to leave too, so I'm just going to crank this bitch out, and we are done. But we're going to Carlos Prates, dog number 1, Zing, Mingyang, Zhang, David Onama, Michel Pereira, Randy Rude Boy Brown, Ikram Aliskerov, Jimmy Flick is going to be dog number 2, Evan Elder, John Castaneda, dog number 3, Damon Blackshear, Cameron Saaiman is about even money. Jaqueline Amorim, Roberto Romero, and I guess Joselyne Edwards. That thing's just real greasy. So yeah, 14 fights. Paul mentioned tons of regionals. So we're going to end this show now and we're going to jump into that stuff. So join us over there if you'd like.
That is it for us this week. Hope you enjoyed the show. For producer Jared and Cody Saptic, I'm Paul Shaughnessy saying goodbye and good luck.
Ow, ow, ow.